Something tells me that the Asian American community or the AAPI community is really missing affirmative action right now. Now, the last time I talked about them as a collective was in a Triple P, and it was a very much well-deserved one, and it has become right now my most watched Triple P on the channel. Now, this is not going to be a Triple P video, but it's still a ha ha ha, you got what you got after you got what you wanted type of video. So I'm going to be reading this article from the New York Post where it's basically claiming that Asian parents are saying that the New York STEM program, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, is discriminating against their children in favor of Black or south of the borderian children for them to get into these STEM programs. And I just have the strongest feelings that they're making a play right here. But like I said, they demanded to push to get rid of affirmative action because they felt it was benefiting people that wasn't them, even though if you look through it, the main beneficiaries of affirmative action was white women and even to an extent Asians. But you got rid of your last line of defense, and here's the thing. Now they're finding out that even with affirmative action gone, they're still not getting in. So what they're trying to say is that they're still using discriminatory affirmative action practices, even though affirmative action is gone. Now they're realizing that a lot of their kids are probably not as smart as they've been put out there to be. And man, oh man, some of the comments I saw when I looked at the comment section on here, take my word for it, they are crying. And when I say they, I'm talking about mainly PC people, because I didn't really see anybody who was Asian in the comment section really going off about this except within the article itself. But PC was up in there crying and of course using all the buzzwords of things like, oh well, Black kids aren't that intelligent, you know, the whole spiel of we have a low IQ and all this, that, and the third, you know, the usual stuff. But let me go ahead and get into the article. Asian parents filed a federal discrimination suit against the New York State Education Department Wednesday, claiming their kids are being unfairly kept out of the STEM summer program in favor of Black and Hispanic students. The state-funded science and technology entry program, known as STEP, admits around 11,000 7th to 8th grade students a year for classes at 56 participating colleges and medical schools worldwide. The pre-college enrichment program aims to increase the number of historically underrepresented and economically disadvantaged students to prepare to enter college and improve their participation rate in math, science, tech, and health fields, according to its website. But while Black, Hispanic, and Native American students can apply regardless of family wealth, Asian and white school kids need to meet certain low-income criteria, the lawsuit filed in upstate New York federal court claims. Now, peep how that statement, that paragraph that I just read, how it looked. They said, but while Black, Hispanic, and Native American students can apply regardless of family's wealth, so now they're talking about from a class standpoint. Then they go on to say Asian and white school kids need to meet a certain criteria. I told people when I first heard Charlie Kirk keep peddling this Asian and white solidarity thing last year, what they're going to start doing is lumping them in together because they're trying to form some kind of an alliance against us. I don't care what all the other communities do. I'm talking about us specifically as Black people. They're trying to create some kind of an alliance amongst themselves to go against us in any narrative that they can, because it wasn't enough for them to just say Asian school kids. They said Asian and white school kids. So I'm telling y'all, I said it last year, prepare to see those two names, those two words commonly get mentioned together like they do the black and brown thing with us. In other words, the Hispanic child of a multimillionaire is eligible to apply to STEP, while an Asian American child whose family earns just above the state's low income threshold is not, solely because of her race or ethnicity, the filing states. I think now they're starting to understand how systematic oppression works, even though many of them denied that it is a thing, because we were the ones saying that it is what it is. Oh well. The allegedly biased admissions criteria have been in place for nearly 4 decades. The suit claims adding 39 years of discrimination is enough. Let's see, imagine if you were Black and you were going through well past 39 years of so-called of oppression. Let's see. 400 plus years versus 39. And we went through a whole lot more than just trying to get into a school. There was a time when we weren't even allowed to read or write, let alone get into an institution of not even just regular higher learning. 39 years. So you're talking about back to the 80s. Imagine having to deal with all of that throughout not only the 80s, but the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, 30s, 20s, teens, 10s, early 1900s. Prior to that, now we start getting prior to that. Now we're tiptoeing into right when slavery was abolished, then before slavery was abolished. I mean, do I need to continue going on? Imagine having to deal with all of that. Plus, on top of all of that, all the other systemic oppression that we've been going through, that my ancestors went through. So they can miss me with that. Plaintiffs include New York City-based Year 10 Chu of the Asian Wave Alliance, who said she was stunned when she first heard of STEP's policy a few weeks ago and decided to join the suit, which also names Education Commissioner Betty Rosa as a defendant. This is outright discrimination against Asian American students pursuing the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math education field, said Chu, an advocate for merit-based admissions at the city's specialized high schools. The program should be for all students or for low-income students. The state is choosing which race is eligible, she told the Post. Well, it's not our fault that the model minority is slowing the uptake and finding out that, you know what? White supremacy is indeed a thing. See, the thing is, they've been floating on by because they got hit with the title of model minority and thought it couldn't touch them. Now, see, if they was a little bit open to about what it is and actually acknowledged it instead of aligning themselves with the oppressor, then maybe I could feel a little bit something for them, but it's too late. They've aligned themselves with them a long time ago, and then they continuously, along within that alignment, go against us like we did something to them. Now, I find it very interesting that I haven't seen them call this an anti-Asian hate crime. They just said it's discrimination, which is tiptoeing in that direction. I guess hate crime is only designated when it comes to us, because that's another thing. They keep trying to peddle this thing like we're the ones that are doing something to them by them consistently saying it is black people that's getting this opportunity at this school. That's hypothetically what they're trying to say, but they can't go all the way with it because it wasn't black people that put this in place. Again, if y'all remember in my live stream that I did when I was talking about the Delta Airlines situation, they want to talk about this thing that's going on with that book that I talked to you about, where they said it was anti-white. Guess what? It wasn't black people that implemented that policy. It was the white CEO who was a white man. I keep telling you, the oppression that PC faces and the oppression that Asian people they said that they face is coming from the same people that we have to deal with. But they want to project onto us like we're the ones that's doing something to them. We don't run nothing here. I don't know how more plainly put or how crystal clear we have to make it. We as black people don't have any type of major power in this establishment to run anything. But that just lets you know that they're scared to go against their own. They're scared to go up and buck against their system. So what do? They come and buck at us. The low-hanging fruit. Other plaintiffs include the Chinese American Citizens Alliance of Greater New York Inclusive Education Advocacy Group and Higher with Our Parent Engagement. Attorneys in both the Pacific Legal Foundation and the Anti-Affirmative Action Group Equal Protection Project of the Legal Insurrection Foundation are representing them in the case. The EPP has filed other lawsuits and civil rights complaints with the U.S. Education Department against New York colleges for allegedly promoting discriminatory racial preference admission policies for academic programs. Isn't it amazing how they quickly run to the aid of other groups of people, but when black people are talking about these same exact things, they want to investigate to see if it's actually discrimination against black people. And if they can't find it against just black people, they'll throw the brown thing in there too to try to, I guess, say, okay, now we see it. The time has come to correct and end discrimination against students throughout the state, said EPP's president and director William Jacobson, a Cornell law professor. The Equal Protection Project, or equalprotect.org, is proud to team up with the Pacific Legal to challenge the discriminatory practice standards in the STEP program so that students do not miss out on educational opportunities because of their skin color or ethnicity. In 1985, the New York lawmakers passed legislation aimed at boosting interest in science, technology, and healthcare among low-income and underrepresented minority students, resulting in the creation of STEP, which earmarked public funds to 56 colleges, universities, and medical schools statewide to instruct the younger students. Colleges host and operate STEP initiatives for 7th to 12th grade students that include instruction, exam preparation, hands-on and research training, college admissions guidance, and career-focused activities such as field trips and college visits. But racial preference programs aimed at correcting historic injustices or underrepresentation of Black Americans and other minorities have come under the microscope after the U.S. Supreme Court last year struck down college affirmative action programs. Again, the people that's complaining about this right now were the ones spearheading that, but they love leaving that part out as if it wasn't public knowledge. Aimed at boosting minority representation as discriminatory. If the government wants to fund educational opportunities for children in need, it can do so. What it can't do is use economic need as a way to treat applicants differently based on their race, the Pacific Legal Foundation said in a statement. STEP's expressly race-conscious application process blatantly violates the Constitution's equal protection guarantee. The Education Department had no immediate comment. Ask me how I feel about this whole so-called revelation. I got 3 words for you. I feel nothing. Like I said, when they voted to strike down affirmative action last year, this is what you will get. Now we're going to really see if you can get in on based on merit. And now this is actually forcing them to actually have to acknowledge who's the one that's keeping them out from certain places. But again, they've aligned themselves with them and they're not going to go completely against them. Actually, they kind of did a little bit last year when they tried to take away legacy admissions. That was definitely going against them. But yeah, I feel absolutely nothing for them. They made sure to target Black people again in their gripe with their kids not being able to get into this school. Well, how come those Black students can get in and we can't? See, they didn't even have to mention us, but they did. They could have worded that any other way. And by the way, based on their sentiments, isn't race not a thing anymore? Stop complaining about race. Pull yourselves up by the bootstraps. Stop being a victim. All I'm doing is giving out the same energy that they gave to us. That's how we doing it in 2024.